The second was for Father Water. Hallelujah. That kingdom come, that will be done. On earth as it is done. And give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses. And forgive us who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We follow our agenda by going to item Z, which will be led by Councilperson Brown.
Okay. I pledge to build a stronger and more prosperous community, advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of my town.
Thank you. Roll call. Everyone had Catchings and McNeil. We go to item 5, approval of the June special call meeting agenda.
I make a motion to approve the special call meeting agenda.
Second. Probably moving second that we approve the June special call meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Ayes have it. Item 6. Approval of second reading of ordinance 2025. And ordinance to adopt 2025-26 fiscal year general budget for the town of Honolulu. Starting with July 1st. Any concerns, questions?
Should do a motion to approve in the session.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Probably moving second, let me give second reading. All in favor say aye.
Well, now there's discussion.
I answered.
We do motion, second, and discussion.
Go
Do
for
you
it.
have discussion?
I do,
Okay, go ahead.
thank you. And I don't know if this needs to be by way of amendment or whatever, but we have an ordinance that references in exhibit A. And we have an attachment with details to the ordinance, which I assume is exhibit A. But I would recommend that it be so identified and also carry the ordinance number on it, so that there's no discrepancy about.
Can't hear you, Mr. Cross.
We have an ordinance redact that references an exhibit A as a budget document. We have some papers attached to that ordinance, which I assume is the reference to exhibit A. I would recommend that it be so notified and also as exhibit A with the ordinance number, and that it contain a date and page numbers so that we can speak intelligently to it with that respect. I don't know if that means a motion or anything, it's maybe just a comment or a suggestion.
I think we can put Catherine, once it gets approved, we'll put it in the ordinance book or whatever, so we can exhibit anyway, go in the ordinance numbers to make it, and page numbers to make it clear if that's it, so that.
That's my only comment. Thank you.
Motion was approved. Moving second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposers? Ayes have it. Item 7. Approval of second reading of ordinance 2025-10. An ordinance to adopt the 2025-2026 fiscal year water fund for the town of Honolulu.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Probably moved and second that we approve. Any discussion?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to express a couple of items on here. Again, there are no page numbers on here, so I don't, you can go try and find 10-4401, transfer general to water. And the numbers that are shown represent a 46.93% increase from the transfer from the last year's budget, fiscal year budget, to the current fiscal year budget. And I was curious as to why it's that much of an increase. Almost 50% roughly.
So the transfer from the general fund to the water fund. Are you looking at, so we're in the general fund now, not in the water fund revenues, so we're not looking at 20-.
I'm
3507.
looking at 10-4401, transfer to general to water.
So that would be in the general fund that was got approved.
Can you repeat the line item number, please?
10-4401. It's the 1, 2. Third thing down, well, fourth thing down, after total of Charleston County.
What is the amount?
$102,849.27.
As opposed to
Right.
70,000 even last year, which represents 46.93% increase, a 50% increase in the amount of money taken from the general fund to the water fund for this next fiscal year budget. And I'm wondering why it's that much money.
The amount that was found for that 102,849.27, the 102, that line item, when discussing those numbers with our water consultant, he stated to get like accurate numbers, he said to operate 5% of the general fund budget would be accurate.
Well, I know you've said that before. I'm asking, so what you're saying is that the $70,000 last year was woefully inadequate to meet that requirement?
From our consultant standpoint, yes.
And so that then precipitates a 50% increase of what we're taking out of the general fund and putting in the water fund for this next fiscal year. Which you said is what, 5% of the,
5% of the general fund budget,
right, okay, but it's not, that is, well.
which also increased 12.97%.
So then $102,849.27 is 5% of 2 million, whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, and I'm just curious as to why that fell out of the sky from last year to this year. We've had the same people that we've been consulting with them, we're just a different group.
It's still the same consultant. I
They
would
just
say,
came out with a whole lot more money this year. I'm just wondering why.
I
Well, but if,
can't discuss about what that was between his discussion and the previous administration.
if you look at,
Well, I'm wondering why the consultant recommended that. He's been our consultant throughout. It didn't have anything to do with the previous administration.
Ron Bycroft.
Oh, no.
How long has he been with the town? Several years.
As a consultant
Some
since
years.
late 2023.
Yeah, couple years.
So he was here last year and didn't make that recommendation.
I'm not sure if we pitched that recommendation
He couldn't
to,
have, because the $70,000 is not 5% of last year's budget. It's a lot less.
what I was trying to say is that we probably may have discussed it with the previous town administrator, and the town administrator might have said, no, let's not present it in that fashion.
Okay, so for the, and the water fund revenue, again, no page number here, but I'm looking at page, and maybe this same thing, 20-3507, transfer from general fund. The last budget was $75,000, and this is just the water fund revenue, it's not general fund revenues. And the current 2025-26 budget going forward, it's a 37.13% increase. What are we doing to warrant that, almost a 40% increase?
So that line item is discussing that 102,849.27, that is a match between your general fund and your water fund. In addition
Wait,
to that,
let me find out what you're talking about. What?
when you look at the water fund revenues for that 20-3507, you see the breakdown of that 109,238.11.
Uh-huh.
That is including the 102,849.27. In addition to that, when we were looking at the ARPA expenditures. When I was doing the federally mandated yearly ARPA reporting, it was noted that the previous administrator was only reporting $712,000, when in reality, they had $718,388.84. I found this out when we were, luckily when the auditors were here, and when the town council obligated all of those ARPA funds, we were transferring those into the reserve.
Okay.
So we're at $6,388.85. You'll see that in the expenditure line item for the transfer, included in the transfer to the assets for the reserve.
And that's under, what, the third line down from transfer from general fund in 23,507.
Yes.
Okay,
So what should have happened last year when you're looking at your budgets, that $75,000 should have equaled that $70,000. They should have canceled each other out.
and and that was the ARPA funds that I think that we had left over from the other building improvements that we did, where we made a motion to put everything else that we
Yes.
didn't spend towards the water fund. Is that what that represents?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. One last item. And I'm done, I think. Oh, and I mentioned this previously. The total water fund budget is $566,188.11 going forward from 2025-26. We're transferring into from the general fund $109,238. When you divide the 109 by the 566, that's 19%. So 19% of the total water fund budget is being funded from the general fund.
I would put an asterisk to that because one of those are the ARPA funds that are coming in. So when you take out just the ARPA funds and you just do the 102,000, it's 18.17%.
Okay, well, I mean, that's not readily discernible from this, but 18.7 rather than 19%.
Yes.
But I'd like to shed some light on it.
Okay, please do, because I'm.
If you take. Go to revenues,
Water fund revenues,
waterfront revenues. 20-3510. 20-3520. 20-3522, which is tie-in fee.
wait, I don't see those, Paul.
Waterfront
On that
revenue,
page you were just looking at.
waterfront.
What did he say?
waterfront,
Here.
Water
Oh,
fund revenue.
Green line.
All right, well, yeah, all
Okay.
right. 20, 35, 10, 20, and 22, you said?
So if we isolate the money that we are being paid by the water users,
Uh-huh.
that equals 271.20. Which is 40% of the total. Wait. Okay, so I'm sorry, if you take, that's what we're collecting. Now, if we assume going forward. We're gonna still bring money in from SCRIA, some grants and what have you. So what we want to look at is what people are paying for water. In order for these transfers from general fund to go away, we would have to increase that 271.20 by 40%. Right, we're waiting and we're
Well, I haven't done the math, but I'll take your word for
Yeah.
it.
we're wishing and hoping for a rate study. Just jot that down, see if it doesn't come through that we would need to increase our. Connect fee and or per gallon fee by 40%.
It would be what it would be. The point I'm trying to make is that 18.7% of the entire water fund budget is being funded by the general fund. That's a fact. That I'm not splitting hairs as to other revenues that come in. There's that much money is coming out of the general fund that has nothing to do with the water system, that supplements the water system so it can remain solid. And there are a number of
You
people.
can say that taxpayers who aren't even using the water are subsidizing the water system.
Yes, you
Right.
can.
So, and we know that a lot of the funds and grants that are available to us or could be available to us are not gonna be available to us until we can show that we're operating in the black.
Well, that's even, that's even more reason to make this a top
Yes, it
priority
is.
to figure out how to fix it. And I don't really see.
What I just told you is if we increase, if we were to increase. What we bring in from the users, those 200 users that we have, by 40%. That would do away with the subsidy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, just because I haven't been to the formulas, but we've also got built in all of our consultant fees and
Yeah.
our hopefully future manager fees, so. So basically, this budget is as if we're paying both of those people at the same time, right? But in reality, what we hope to happen is we hire this utilities manager and line items 20, 44, 59. Help me out here.
He's projecting a
No, no, no,
reduction.
I got it.
20,
And 20, 44, 16. We're hoping those line items will forever go away once we get our
Correct, yeah.
utilities manager, so that's actually.
Yeah.
A pretty good savings if we're able to lock that down this year, which I know we've talked about that being a priority of hiring that person.
What was the first one you mentioned?
So we,
Michelle?
because we're hoping to hire a
40,
utilities manager, we built in line item 20, 44, 10 for utilities manager, that also includes.
20, 44, 10 and 20, 44, 16.
No,
right?
well, 20, 44, 18 also includes their benefits. But we're hoping, but when we hire that
I don't see
person,
a 20, 44, 18.
We're projecting a reduction in that only. But it'll go.
I don't-
but we're
Where-
hoping,
Oh, that's under. Where's their? The fund is
let me see if I can make it simple. We have built this budget as if we're gonna pay person A and person Z at the same time. That's not gonna happen. We're only paying person A, which is more cut all of our consulting fees, Ron. We're not gonna keep paying those people once person B is hopefully hired before the end of this budget year. I mean, I wish maybe I was thinking, I don't know, but I'm hoping, so then person A is no longer gonna be paid, so. Hopefully at the end of this year's water budget, you're actually gonna see we have a surplus because we didn't have to pay all that.
Sure, so that would reduce this amount of 18.7% by some
Reducing.
at this point, I'm not figuring because we haven't crunched the numbers, so it's.
Right, but I mean, I'm also saying like. Water project engineer, is this that making?
Yes, that's.
Yes, so hopefully we wouldn't need them. Hopefully we won't need H and Northcutt. Ron would probably love to retire and tell us to, peace out. Like those are 3 line items right there that hopefully will just.
Well, unless we hire a PE, we're gonna have to have an engineering.
Yeah.
That's a
aspect.
conversation for a different time.
I
What we're talking
understand.
about is the fact that,
And I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
too, but we don't know what that number is because we haven't crunched those numbers. It will absolutely reduce the 18.7%.
correct,
What, down to 15,
no, I think,
16, 20, 30?
I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know, but I'd love to say something. I'd love to say this, and we talked about this in the meeting we had before this one, where I wanted that other meeting so we could hash these things out. And set the course for a plan. We have to plan this stuff. you guys are on the right track. All those things you're talking about, he's talking about, she's talking about, that's what I'm talking about. Big picture, long term, 1, 3, 5, 10 years, we have to look at that like
Yeah.
that. This stuff is gonna change.
And
And
we get into
6 months
three.
from now, it could change a lot. By hiring somebody, right? Or 4 months from now, or whatever that time frame is. And then with the water rate study. I mean, I don't know what it's gonna say, but. I mean, we have to make some changes and we have to have a long-term view of this, and I think. This is good discussion point right now. But we need to continue it at another time and move that ball forward slowly. It's not, we're not gonna be able to do it in a minute or one meeting, or we gotta keep talking about this and keep making changes and improvements as we go along.
I mean, I guess if you really wanted to see what the true number was, you could suggest to amend it to remove utilities manager so that their numbers aren't skewing the budget. But I like what Catherine did because she's pretty like, this is what it would look like in the budget. We went ahead and created those line items. So if you're really having heartburn about it, you can amend it to remove those pieces, and then the percentage will come down. It would be a much truer picture, but I don't recommend that so that we can just keep moving it forward, because I'm hoping we hire on in the next 3 months.
No, and even quicker if we could.
I mean, Catherine even talked in this budget, there is some capital improvement money. We talked about this, and we have to have that. That's part of the plan too, right? These are all good things.
I just want to look at those on this room for.
Any other concerns?
Well, it looks like to me, some of those things are increasing rather than decreasing. But then you have to look at them and right now we have part-time people who don't get any benefits. What we're looking at getting is a full-time person who will have benefits. So from that perspective, that would be an increase over what we currently have. But then.
No, because you're trying to put the part-time person in line with the full-time person. That's not accurate. You need to put the full-time person in comparison with the consultant, HM Northcutt and Lee Seabrook.
Okay,
The
well,
part-time person is not that utilities manager. That's
it's not.
no,
What is that utilities man?
The utilities
That's North
manager would take over HM Northcutt, and they would also, which is our water operator.
Well, wait a
And then-
minute, no. It says that there's utilities manager is in the
If
2025
I may,
budget.
Councilman Kraus. Because we still need to have, we don't have utilities managers or somebody to operate the system, we still need that water operator. So there is going to be a little bit of overlap between the water operator and the hiring of the utilities manager.
Well, okay, that helps
that-
explain.
And that number can change. Depending on how quickly we
But
hire
it
that
would be more
person.
informative, and especially for a dummy like you to understand it, if it were explained that way, in this piece of paper. What you guys apparently intuitively know that I did not pick up on. If it were, what did you call what we're doing now? Oh, what? It's not a utilities manager, it's something else. What was it?
Currently, right now, you're paying for a water operator.
Water
which is
operator.
HM
So if we-
Northcutt,
so-
in addition to a water consultant.
So
who
if
is-
we had water operator. Fiscal year 24-25. What was the next one you said?
A water
Water
consultant,
consultant, 24-25. Then in 25-26. That would be vastly reduced because they're gonna go away. Then we would have the utilities manager who's gonna be a substantial increase because that's gonna be a full-time position with benefits. So then I would understand it better. I just want to be able to understand this. I don't think it's too big a question to ask. Or but maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
You good?
What's that?
You good?
Okay,
Okay.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions?
no, I am enlightened to a certain extent. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion's on the floor for approval. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Any opposers? Ayes have it.
motion to adjourn,
We go to item 8,
motion to adjourn.
Second.
properly moving seconds, that we adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers?